So, welcome back to another of our interview series of a digital planner book camp of students who have completed a digital planner, and some of them have done a physical planner, as we'll talk about a little bit of that today with our guest, Allie Akonwie. All right, wonderful. So, Allie has created an absolutely extraordinary, beautiful digital planner and book called Renew and Reclaim. And it's absolutely beautiful. I'll actually share the screen a little bit so
Oh,
that
okay.
everyone can see the cover of it, but it's an absolutely beautiful book. And done so well because it's a subject that a lot of people may not necessarily always think about or talk about, but I'll let you share more about your story and what inspired your digital planner. And then what I'll do as we kind of talk, I'll switch screens and then show the viewers your planner and what it looks like. And yeah, and then where they can go and get it. So, Allie, tell us a little bit about your story and what
Mhm.
inspired you to create this product, this beautiful product.
Sure. I will. Yeah, I'll give you the Coles Notes version because I could literally chat about it for hours. So, going back maybe about 10 years ago is when I went through a lot of trauma in my life, a lot of changes. It kind of just really rocked my world. So, it brings me to today where all the trauma I went through with domestic violence and like sexual assault has now inspired me to help other women, other Christian women specifically, who have gone through a very similar experience in their lives and helping and supporting them to heal. I also, during the day in my day job, am a social worker as well. I work in child protection and I still work in domestic violence field as well. So I'm really engulfed and experienced and just have learned a lot in order to, I think, just give a lot in this area. So I think one of the biggest things, because I was thinking of that question, like why would you create like a planner? Why didn't you just write a book or an autobiography, which may come in the future? But my first, I guess, heart answer that came to my heart was there was a time where it was almost a luxury to think that another year would be possible. When you look at like a planner, it's dated or undated, or it gives you the ability to date, right? And so okay, 30 days from now will be a new month, and then 60 days from now, 2 months. There's a lot of women who, in this situation of domestic violence, where I don't even know if I could fathom 3 months from now. So I almost feel like it gives its own hope in a way. Like I can plan 2 weeks from now. I can write down some of those goals, or I can just hopefully have that hope and expectation that I'm going to make it to next month. Some of the situations are just like that. So that's kind of my heart answer of I also like to plan. So, I enjoy that. And then I incorporated some journal aspects into it. So I just feel like it's helpful practically, but it also helps with that mental processing and just getting through the next day or the next month of how am I going to get to a better place in my life, or just what does tomorrow look like? Yeah.
Mm, mm,
Yeah.
mm. Yeah, and it has that feeling of because the colors are so vibrant and without being, I guess I would say garish, but very like I feel like every design element of the planner was very thoughtful
Right.
about why you chose, and even including the cover all the way as it goes throughout the planner. And again, I kind of thought the same thing a little bit too when you first introduced the idea. And then I felt like as I saw you, if developing it, and as I saw you putting it together, because you included, I'll go so far as to say it almost has the feeling like a kit or a blueprint or a plan, if you will, for
Right.
either you have gotten out of the situation where there's a clear and present danger, but you do acknowledge that those who are in that at that stage of it with your safety plan, and then you go into all the steps about or not the steps, but the encouragement with the inspirational links to inspirational music. And can you tell us about like what was your as you were developing the sort of the outline for it or the structure for it, what influenced how you structured it and put it together where it was so it just feels like every piece was sort of handpicked and chosen
Right.
to be in there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I think it was like prayer before I even like really put it together, because I was like, God, what do I put in this? And then thinking back to, like I said, 10, 15 years ago, what was it like to be in that situation again? And it's interesting because some of the memories are almost erased or very fuzzy, and then some of them are still very vivid if I put myself back. So I just remember thinking when I felt hopeless or when I needed encouragement or when I first left, what were some of those needs? What were some of those experiences? What did it feel like to sit in some of those feelings and thoughts and just like fear? And what brought me some hope or what brought me like a balm to like my heart and those wounds, right? And so just thinking through that and praying through that, I think that's where I came up with, okay, journaling helped a lot, music helped a lot, just being able to find some ways to be creative or just to get some of those things in your head out on the paper, like I said, and just planning, even if it's just for tomorrow, that evening was very helpful. So yeah, I did spend a lot of time just thinking and trying to remember what was helpful, and then taking some advice from, I have a Facebook group for women who are in this situation. So just even taking a quick poll and like, guys, what was helpful or what is helpful right now to you? So kind of a combination of collaboration and just me thinking back on what that was like.
Mhm. I love that. I'm so glad you said that piece because that is one of the things that I always encourage everyone that I work with to do is to not go off into our little cave or whatever we go off to and spend, our time feverishly working on our project and then just voila, here it is. By you having a Facebook group, and I'm not saying everyone listening has to have a Facebook group, but I'm saying that if you have some kind of what I call a container where you are in communion with the people that you're designing the product for, it first of all, I think encourages you to know, okay, this is going to work, or no, maybe this isn't quite it. It also gives you intel that you can
Right.
use because, as you said, you've not been, thank God, in that situation now for many years, but some of the your participants in your group may still be in that situation. So, being able to sort of workshop it, as I like to use that term a lot, workshop it with them, gave you, I'm sure, a lot of, well, I'll ask the question, how did it make you feel to be able to have that sort of resource? And how are the ladies been able, have they responded to the project now that it's all completed?
Yeah, it was good to have them like to just collaborate back and forth, like I said, because they might bring up either an experience or a feeling that maybe wasn't my reality. So I'm like, oh, okay, that's an interesting concept. Or because I didn't have kids at the time, and a lot of the women do have kids, so sometimes that might influence something. So it just gave me even yeah that confidence of like this actually someone who could actually benefit from this and this is needed and all that kind of stuff. So it made me feel like sometimes to keep going because there are times like if I was in my own bubble, I think sometimes I would just be like, this is hard. Or is someone really gonna even want this? So there has been good response. So, they've helped me pick out the cover because I had a few options there and even just like some feedback. I had some ladies like join my emailing list just because they want to know when the physical copy comes out because it's not quite out yet. So
Okay.
it's just staying in different types of communication as well. So it did, yeah, some of them do have the digital version, the one that is ready now, the printable digital version. So I think it just helped me feel like it was an us thing too. Like it wasn't simply a yay me, look what I created. It was like kind of like we created this and it just felt a little bit different than maybe a strictly solo endeavor.
I love that. I love that so
Yeah,
much. I love that we created it because, again, I think one of the hidden concerns that everyone thinks somewhere in the back of their mind, I don't care if they're writing a book or whatever creative project we're working on. As creatives, we just kind of think that way. Is someone actually going to want this?
right.
Is someone actually going to buy this or whatever the case may be? And if that sort of is like kind of, picking away at the back of your brain while you're working, I think it influences decisions that you make
Right.
of subject matter and what goes inside the planner. So being able to have that, what I like to also call a focus group, that you're creating it with them, they feel like they're a part of the process and there's almost like an implied ownership in a way because they've had input into, and again, as the creator, it feeds us because we know, okay, this here is what they're asking for, this is what's going to work for them. And of course, obviously you have to have the interest, you have to have
Right.
the background, you have to have lived the experience. I mean, people can't put something together they have no experience in whatsoever.
Right.
But I do believe that in order to get, I think, the best result, having some kind of community around it always makes the process a lot more engaging, I guess, if
Yeah,
you will.
I would also add maybe just having that heart experience because you can take like if I think of my profession, you can take the textbook Coles Notes version of something. Oh, somebody has experienced this. Let me just put all the formulas in a book or something. And
Mhm,
that I think that'll
mhm,
feel a little bit robotic. But when you pick up something, or maybe when you hear a song from someone who's been through something, right? That's like a soul version of that of
mhm.
that topic, right? So I just feel like there's that total difference of a formula, textbook base, and like I went through the hard things and prayed through the things to get here. I hope you can feel it through this, you know?
Yes. Actually,
Yeah.
what I should do is pull it up while we're talking because I want everyone to see it. So let me ask you, now that it's done, let me actually pull up the screen here. I meant to do that earlier as we were speaking about it. So this is the beautiful, beautiful planner, digital planner called Renew and Reclaim. I'm sorry, I flubbed up when we started talking.
It's
Um,
okay.
and I was like, okay, it was like, I look at it almost every day. So it's like, but anyway, we're human. We have our moments. But what I love about it again is from the very beginning, so I can make the screen a little bit bigger. There we go. Yeah, it feels well, okay, so let me talk about this for a little bit. So I know that you used AI as a
Yes.
part of your design elements. And did you start with this image as you were first conceptualizing it? Like what was when you first started the very beginning of putting it together?
You know what? It was one of the very first images that I started with. I kind of, before I even started experimenting with the prompting, I kind of already knew what I wanted. It was just getting it onto a digital manifestation of what was in my head, right? And because for me, when I look at this, when I think of like freedom and healing and just being carefree and like, is like I do think of a field of wildflowers that's just like open and uninhibited, right? And so I'm like, has to be that. And
Okay.
then just that open sky. And I just feel like for as a woman, I was like, well, her hair is not nearly as curly as mine, but that's besides the point. But I just always saw, I just feel like lace, like white lace or a light cotton sundress, always just maybe since a little girl was always like that's freedom, that's fun, that's like I'm me and yay for that. Like I just kind of always have seen that. And so I knew this is like she just looks so at peace with herself and just like in gratitude to God for like how far she's come. That is how I see this. And it didn't take me super long to like I had to fine tune it and stuff and play with it, but I just think I had such a visual in my head that and I've had a lot of practice with prompting with AI that I'm like, oh no, I can get this, you know? So I was really happy with how it turned out. I really like it.
It's beautiful. It really is beautiful. And it
Yeah.
has that feeling. It was so funny when we were during the time together with working with Allie and my other students, we sort of workshopped, in a sense, each aspect of it. And I remember when we were going over the fonts and and how to stylize them and how to put them together so that they would jump, because the
Yeah.
image is so strong to begin with. So you wanted to hopefully balance it, not take away from it. And the color palette I love, it feels joyful. It feels, well, her image feels of freedom, and I love the title Renew and Reclaim. What was
Right.
that? What was that? What was the inspiration for the title of it?
The title, it kind of piggybacks off like so my ministry. I see her on my website. I'm side note, I'm super happy because I thought the shop wasn't working, but it's working. Yay. It kind of piggybacks off my ministry about like renewing your like essentially really briefly how to like heal from such a trauma is to renew your mindset
Hmm.
and reclaim your identity in Christ in order to rebuild your life. So the three R's that I kind of go off are renew, reclaim, and rebuild. So I knew that for this planner is specifically focuses on like strengthening your relationship with God and yourself and like community as well. So I knew it had to be renewing your mindset and reclaiming your identity in Christ. Those are the major things that you have to undergo when you need to just basically rebuild your life from huge trauma. So
Mhm.
that kind of really inspired it. It wasn't really this long process of thinking. I'm like, oh no, like I've been like writing about this and had like my ministry mission and all that stuff down like for at least a year and a half prior. So I'm like, no, this totally just all flows together, and it's what you need to do, and it's what how God wants to walk alongside us in order to heal. So it was pretty simple.
Yeah, little wood in the background. So yeah, so I love the way, the way that you have laid everything out again. It carries over that same sort of wildflower theme throughout it.
Right.
You have for each month a weekly plan. You have journal prompt pages. There's a Bible verse
Yeah.
page inside of it. You've got everything is hyperlinked. So for those of you who are listening, so the program that Allie worked with me through is my digital book camp planner course. And what we did was we worked together live in real time. It wasn't a pre-recorded course. We did it in real time, workshopped it each week, and picked all the elements that would go inside of each individual's planner. One of the things that I love about a digital planner is that it's clickable, so you can navigate through the sections of the planner at any given point in time.
Yeah.
And as we were talking about the navigation aspect of it, there were several sections in the planner, but we decided that the main three was what we call the journey guide, which is essentially like a table of contents. It's just visual instead of text links because you've got such beautiful artwork to work with. And then the safety plan, which is I think one of the most probably one of the most important parts of the planner if you're in that
Right.
situation, and then to connect. What was the process like in just trying to choreograph all of the beautiful elements of the planner? What was that like?
Yeah, you know what? Because I first created the cover first, I knew, I just wanted, I'm kind of like a hippie Zen person too. So I know I wanted to stay with like nature because I find nature very grounding. So I told myself, okay, we're going to keep with this theme. Every single picture I had to create myself, like digitally, right? So like with AI, so I got none from anywhere else. So it took some time to create them all, and I really thought through. Like when I look at like the safety plan, you can't fully see the picture, but it's a girl on the phone because there are numerous hotlines that
Mhm,
you can phone when you're in a tricky situation like this. So
mhm.
that was thought through, or even like the about author, that's actually a a digital picture of me. Like I just really thought it all through, right? And it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to create. I really enjoyed the art aspect of it. And I will say, even that thinking of the Bible verses, there's I think 60 of them. That took a long time because it wasn't just I just like this verse. It was what I picked 60 verses that spoke to your identity and who you are in Christ. That was the purpose. They have to speak to who are you and who has God created you to be. So they were very much handpicked, and it took me a while to just like
Mhm.
research and study all these verses and stuff. So yeah, just going back to everything was very intentional, and I wanted it to be intentional, or else I felt like I was wasting everyone's time and my own time. It just had to mean something.
Exactly.
From the colors to the verses to the journal prompts, it just had to mean something, and yeah, because it means a lot to me.
Yeah, you did a beautiful job. And, oh, here's a safety plan. What
Right.
I love about what you've done, and this was something, again, I encouraged everyone to do, is, I mean, there's a lot going on right now in the whole, digital planner space. There's a lot of people making lots of, planners and things like that. There's all kinds of templates and things out there that you can just download and put a cover on it and whatever. And I'm not, you know, putting down
Right.
anyone's work in that respect. What I personally feel is the most valuable at the end of the day is when you do take that as the creator, when you do take that time to think and, like you said, handpick, or a better word I love to use is curate
Right.
what goes inside of your product. Because when you come at it from that perspective, it does. I mean, I feel personally that who you are, as I always say all the time, we have to get in front of our product. Uh, I feel your heart in this.
Oh, good.
And that's what comes through to me. And so when it doesn't feel like, oh, well, I'll just throw a safety plan in, oh, and I'll throw in some pages that they can just, journal about their day or whatever. Like when you said that part that you you went through the Bible verses and you thought about what would go in there. That's the kind of thing that I encourage listeners of this interview to do when you're thinking about your project. Pick something that has meaning to you.
Right.
The templates and the layout and all that stuff can come later, but you've got to think about what you want to put in there. And it gives you something to talk about when you're doing this aspect of it, which is now promoting it.
Right.
We're having this conversation right now because of the way you curated what you chose, because you made an experience, not
Right.
just a planner. So I really want to emphasize that and applaud you for taking that extra step.
Thank you. Yeah, I totally agree because I've been talking about not specifically the planner, but this topic, I guess, and just this healing aspect, like with women for years, like on and off the internet and stuff. So that's why I said I can talk for hours because I just have so much practice, or it's just so much a part of me, and even like promoting this now, it's I don't even know. I don't even know if I even like the word promoting. Like it is that word, but at the same time, it's like just me just sharing. Like it's almost if you have to you want to put enough heart into it where it's like natural. And because of the women I work with in my day job, I've been told some of them, hey, I created this. Like, do you just want a copy? Like when I have the print ready, do you want a copy? And maybe it can just help you with your situation. Because I was praying about it. I said, God, I just want to put some money aside, print some off, keep them in the back of my car so that when I do run into some of those moms that I see weekly and
Yeah.
this comes up, I'm like, I'm just going to give it to you as part of my ministry too. And then let me know what you think, because we can always do some tweaks, these things can
Right.
always be tweaked, but it's like almost like a lifestyle. It's something I live and do. And then that's how it's almost your calling. So, and not every book I think is like, this is my calling, but this one specifically, or it's just part of what I do and who I am. And
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm so glad you said what you just said. First of all, and then we'll take this a teaching moment as we're talking. And again, for all of
Sure.
you watching, listening, the inspiring case, is there a planner in me or what have you? First of all, I want to emphasize something that you said a moment ago is identity. And something that I say a lot in my coaching calls is a lot, sometimes, at least I know that was my experience, that when you whether you're writing a book, putting together a plan or whatever it is, it takes mental energy, sometimes physical energy to put this together. This doesn't just get slapped together, like I said, unless you just buy a template or whatever, and just, put a cover on it. It
Yeah.
takes time to do that. And you can't go through that process without it impacting who you are as a person to actually do it. And one of the things I encourage everyone to do is adopt the identity or embrace the identity that you have, that you are now an author. Because a lot of
Right.
people kind of like, oh, well, I did this book, and kind of sheepish about it. And it's like, no, like not everyone's going to put together a book. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and so, what I love about everything that you just said, Allie, is that you now are owning that identity as you now as an author, and that you are carrying your books around with you. Because again, this is digital, but Allie is working on a physical iteration of this, and being able just to hand it off to someone. I can't wait for you to have that experience and what that's going to feel like when you get, 'cause it's going to totally, I think, even embrace that identity to you even more so when you're able to do that and you see someone in need and you're able to do
Right.
that or whatever it just puts on your heart to do it, period. So I
Yeah,
can't wait.
basically, like be ready to step out in faith, right? Like if I don't have them with me in my car, that's what I'm choosing to do. And it
Mhm.
gets impressed in my heart, like you should probably share that with somebody. I'm like, well, I'm not ready. You have to kind of always be ready. So yeah, I'm excited for that too. It'll be cool.
Yeah, me too. Let's see here. So you have a resource list in here of all
Yeah.
types of things that women can do to go and get support. You also mentioned that you have a ministry and you rooted this in your ministry. And on the same topic of conversation in terms of getting it out there, do you have any thoughts or plans or envisions for how you'd like to expand this even more in terms of just reaching more people with it? And have you had any thoughts
Yeah.
around that?
I I think I have like So many. Right now, like I just started this before I had my son about 2 years ago. So right now I'm just doing, it's mostly written. You can see, like, I see my blog topics on the side there. So right now it's just, I've taken a little bit of sabbatical from my blog, but I will start again. So there's numerous articles right now available for people. I'm still pretty active in my Facebook group online. So that's something that's always going, and getting an email list just consistent, those kind of things. So a lot of like writing right now, and then a lot of like sharing, because there's, we share in the Facebook group as well, lots of sharing, but then people will, like, informal coaching, like I do that because people will direct message me all the time, so I don't mind doing that. It was my goal to have one-on-one or group coaching, like, more formally. It won't be like right now, but that's kind of something I'm also thinking of. I did have like this as a series, honestly. This is like book one, and then have two more like different planners focusing on mind, body, spirit, like healing mind, body, spirit. So that's
Okay.
also something I want to continue putting. Instead of just doing lives on my Facebook group, I wanted to get my YouTube channel more developed too, because I'm just finding there's so many, some people are different learners, right? And then some people are more active on this platform, or they just learn better or connect on this platform. So I'm just really um trying to figure out. Sorry, can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can still hear you.
Okay, sorry, it went blank my screen. Anyway, I'm just trying to figure out what works for me as far as like sharing that. So I think a lot of it right now, like I said, is my group, some YouTube stuff, and then just staying connected with people by email, and then social media. And then my ultimate goal, this is something I'm going to partner with God, is I really want to create my own healing center in Western Africa for the women there. I know it doesn't not necessarily geared towards this book, but it's like a spin-off on everything that I'm creating now. So that'll be probably like my 10-15 year hope down the line, is I just want a full blown out like healing center, essentially, that the things I create and write about now, we can continue to talk about them, maybe show the women like how they can create their own like journals and those kind of things too. So that's something that is far, far down the line, but it's always in my mind, right? We start with A and then go to B, C, D. I
Yep.
know that might be my YXW kind of thing. So we'll see what happens, but that's kind of always in the forefront of my mind. And just staying connected and consistent, I think, is also very key too.
Yeah, I love that so much. I love that so
Yeah.
much. Yeah, because again, aside from adopting your identity as an author, but also what are you doing this for? Because it's got to be bigger
Yeah.
than just about money.
Oh yeah, because I probably would have given up if it was just about money. Like I couldn't just, even right now with doing the manuscript for the print, I'm getting pushback, and I'm like, this sucks. Those things are annoying, but I'm like, no, I want this to be printed. I'm going to figure out how to do it, because like I said, it means this and this and all
Yeah,
that stuff. But if it was just like I want to make a few dollars, I'm like, I'll just go to work on Monday morning.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And again, I want to emphasize this too for everyone listening is that, it's not, it means, yeah, you can monetize, but it also, monetization does not have to be the only monetization path is selling copies of your products itself. There's all kinds of ways to monetize. And as you're going through your journey and your process, you'll feel out those ways to be able to do that. Like I said, I mean,
Right.
the natural steps would be obviously some kind of a group or individual coaching experiences, classes, or workshops. We've talked about that, and using this as sort of the syllabus or the foundation for that. I see that so totally for you, and then
Right.
and just kind of growing from there. The last thing I'll say on that part of the conversation is this is kind of a coaching moment because I love to, when things come to me, I love to say it is you don't have to have all the steps worked out. You just have to focus on the next thing
Right.
and work on that piece of it. All roads will lead to the big vision. But a lot of times when we get as creatives, because we've got lives going on. I mean, even while we're writing our books, laundry still has to be done, meals still have
Yeah.
to be prepped.
I know, even as I'm talking to you, my son's sitting right there. I'm like, please don't start screaming.
Exactly. Exactly. Life still goes on. So sometimes it's just what's the next step?
Right.
The next step for you right now is just working on the physical iteration of the book. And I can't wait to see that either when that comes out. So
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So let's see here. You've got a playlist in here of music. So you just thought to me of every single detail of it.
Yeah,
Um,
I love the playlist. I love it. Yeah. Because I'll just add, so I didn't want to interrupt you, but I just when I look at it, the reason I love it so much is because all those songs, I think there's like 3 pages of different songs. Those are all songs that got me through a certain time
mm,
when I had left my situation. So
mm,
I picked them in the hopes that maybe it would help someone else too. Because you can even see, like the first one, when you're journaling or planning, like that's just a very good acoustic one. Or when you need to just be still. When there's moments where I just need to be still, like that song was the one that helped me just to be grounded and still. So my point is like I just love that the playlist because it some of them are years old because they were there. Those artists created that helped me in that situation and at that time in order to get here. So
love
it's one
it.
of my favorites.
One of the things when Allie was introduced to me, so how we connected, I should have started with this conversation, but I was involved in another Facebook group and I did a presentation back in March where I talked about creating a digital planner. And one of the features of doing this and why I was encouraging it was because of what I call the interactivity of it. And this is how Allie connected with me and then, joined my program. And what I love about, again, what just not just Allie's product, but everyone's product is that you can reference other resources that will help to enhance the experience of your product. So
Right.
by creating a playlist, that was one of the things I said, you can link, you're not owning the music or saying that you own it, you're not even selling the music, you're just
Right.
offering a link to where they can go listen to it. And you can do that with YouTube, you can do that with Spotify. I've had a couple of people doing that. Actually, I'm working on a project right now where I curated a playlist in Spotify.
Oh, cool.
Again, if you think about it, listening to music or something while you're journaling or creating kind of goes hand in hand. So I
Yeah.
love, and again, the attention to detail is what I absolutely love about what you've done because
Thank
you
you.
you didn't just go, oh, well, that sounds like a good music track. I'll put that one in there. You actually
Yeah.
thought about it. So, and I didn't know that piece of it. So thank you for sharing
Oh,
that.
no
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
And just like even like you said, the interconnected part of the different like platforms or just styles is like the safety plan. At the end of the safety plan, there's a link where it goes to one of my YouTube videos that walks you through the safety plan. Like let's visually and verbally, if you're struggling, I kind of outline like why would we pick 5 support people? Why would you want to write down your plan in the first place? Why don't you just have it in your head? Like so it yeah, it kind of shares like this is the written stuff that I'm presenting to you that you could also print off and write yourself. But then here's a link to a video if you're just struggling and I can't be with you in person or on the phone right now. So I'm going to try and explain it to you in this video format at the same time. So, like I
Mhm.
said, just trying to accommodate different styles and learning and what's available because maybe the situation is actually really dangerous that even putting on a video and having audio would cause that person to be in greater harm. So maybe they do just need to read it. Do you know what I'm saying? So I was trying to accommodate what is even realistic for that person too. Can you even access certain things or do you have restrictions? So that's something I think you need to think about too if you have a more sensitive topic like I chose to do. Yeah.
See, then again, it's that attention to detail, and I love that.
Yeah.
And what that sounded like to me was like your planner is really almost like a little mini course. You're not labeling it that, but in a sense,
Right.
that's kind of what it is. Being able to read through the safety plan, but knowing that you have a video about it on your YouTube channel. And while we're on the subject, I want to ask you about that a little bit. How is having the YouTube experience helped you and just in terms of your messaging and getting yourself out there in addition to your Facebook group?
It's helpful in a sense where I tell the ladies on my group, like, I can't always do lives all the time. The last like month and a half has been crazy for me in my personal life. So I've had to kind of pull back a little bit on social media. I'm excited for September because I'm coming coming back, like, because I'll have more sanity and time. But it's helped me with someone will maybe post a question and I can't address it in a live or a big message right now. So I'm like, hey, check out this link because I did this video 3 months ago on this topic. I'm hoping it can help you. So it just, like you said, the busyness of life, I'm trying to think of, or if I've seen people posting the same question maybe for 6 months straight, I'm like, this deserves a video. This deserves a long form video, or sometimes even a short form one will just kind of give enough information in a short amount of time. But I'm finding it just helps me stay connected and reach people a little bit better to have different formats and stuff going on. So it's been really cool to kind of experiment with that for sure.
Hmm. Brilliant job. Let's see, is that the last? So just for you all, I'm going to put the links to all of the resources for Allie's resources out of the description. The planner is currently available. Here is the link for it here. And this just details out everything that you will be getting inside of the digital planner. And quick question, when do you hope, I should say, that the physical iteration will be coming out?
This month. I'm very close. Tug of war back and forth with Amazon a little bit right now on
Right.
some format stuff, but I'm like extremely close. I actually thought I could have done it last week, but they're like, no.
Gotcha.
So I like this month is I feel like September is just a new time. Plus fall is coming. It's a different
Yeah.
season. Let's just
Yep.
bring some refresh and renewing things into fall. So that's definitely
I love
my
it.
hope. And I don't see why not.
I love it. I love it. Well, we'll
Yeah.
definitely have to have you back when the physical iteration is done
Yeah.
down the line and just see what your progress has been on the whole journey. I'm going to actually take the screen down so I can kind of show everyone. So again, this is Allie's beautiful website, I mind
Thank
you.
you.
And so I'm going to put the link to that as well, because again, links to all of your resources, your YouTube channel and everything are available through your website. Let me ask you a quick question. How
Sure.
long have you been, and what's been your experience with just using AI for your imagery? Because your imagery is just so beautiful. And
Oh, it's good. You know what? Because I'm getting away from like other people's stock photos. Like, get stock photos or get someone to do it. I'm like, I can do it. I spent months, like I said, learning about AI and just learning about prompting and then just figuring out styles. Like there's still so much to learn, but I really enjoy it because it's adding more of like me into something or it's adding more of the heart and experience into something. So like I still have some of my old images up there, but I am definitely am moving in that direction of like, no, how do I see it in my head and how do I get it out there? And I've been an artist like music and art, like a lot of like drawing and painting since I was like 5 years old. So
mhm.
this is just me in my life season. I'm like, okay, I have to do this now because leaving paint or my macrame around, my 2 year old will destroy it. So I just really appreciate how God kind of brought in a different avenue for me right now. It's like writing and digital stuff. Focus on that. You can have an outlet this way and help people this way. So it's been great. I really liked it.
I love
Yeah,
it. I love
for
it. I love
sure.
it. Beautiful job, Allie. I mean, seriously, you have done an absolutely beautiful job. When I first saw the layout of everything, I just went, wow. I mean,
Oh, thank you.
talk about exceeded anything I even envisioned is just exquisite. I mean, that's the only way to put it. To me, it's exquisite. It's really quite beautiful. It matches your branding, it goes coincides with your branding. So again, I'll put links to everything in the description here.
Sure.
You are listening to the audio iteration of this on the podcast, I would recommend, checking out the YouTube iteration. I'll put the link to that in there as well so that you can see everything that we're talking about here as well. So, last questions. I know you've got a little
Sure.
one to tend to. What would you say to anyone? Well, let me ask you this. What has been the experience been like us working together and since you discovered me in our program and what that's been like? And what would you recommend to someone who is maybe considering doing a project like this and working with me on that?
Oh, I highly, highly recommend working with you. I've just appreciated you so much. I like without going into like a long story, I didn't, how do I say this? I think we first started this in the spring. Was it March or
It's
April?
March. Hmm.
March. And then so when I saw your presentation on digital planning, I'm like, oh, yeah, I want to do digital planner. And then as I was going along, I was like, this is so much information. I can do this. And then I, and then I was like, no, I can't. It's too much. Like I have a habit of taking on too much and thinking I can just like do it solo. And I'm like, we know ourselves better in our 30s now, right? So we know we need some help. And I think it was that, and I know like God kind of just pushed me like, just do it because I wasn't planning on it. And I didn't, not like I even had set aside the resources to really just like jump on getting some help. But I'm like, you know what? I have the ability to do this right now. I'm going to do it. And I think I was just drawn because I told you this before, like going through trauma, and having lot of distrust in like men in general. I just felt like listening to your sincerity and genuineness, I was like, I just feel safe with this person. And I feel like he could be like an uncle figure to me right now. And he reminds me of pieces of my dad. And I just want, yay, I like Rodney. So it just kind of like put a lot of peace into my heart because I'm very skeptical getting support or help from people in general, because they're speaking into your life essentially, right? And I just want to have some similar like values or just genuineness and those kind of things. So I think when I really sensed there was enough alignment there to take the leap, and it's just been, I just really appreciate the value that you've brought, and way more than I thought. Like I thought it would be like a few weeks of like, here you go, guys, this is how you do it. Good luck. And it's been a lot of like learning a lot about myself personally. And I think the 30-day content challenge was really good because I wasn't sure. I'm like, can I even do it every day? And then it was just like a competition with myself at the end of the day. And I'm like, I didn't miss a day. And that was a big
Mhm.
deal to me. I'm like, I didn't miss a day. And so it told me that I can, be consistent in this world and in this space. I mean, sometimes there's days or a few weeks where I have to step back and told myself, as a recovering perfectionist, you don't need to every day be on it because I can't. So just like learning some of those lessons from you and from like the group and stuff, I really appreciate it. So I think it has opened up my experience in my heart to like whatever the next step will be and needing more support, like, okay, I can trust that when I need to go up a level that like it won't be so scary or I can actually do it. So I just think in general, it's been great. And I've had someone say, you've created like this in months. That's a very short period of time, Allie. Like in my mind, I thought, oh, I'm taking forever and I'm still trying to get the physical together. They're like, you actually did this in a span of months. And it was because we had like that consistent every week interaction and learning from other people and hearing other people's like pains and praises, those kind of things. And I'm like, okay, you can stay grounded and focused. And I think, especially being like a mom to a little one and having to work full time and all these things, it's so easy for me just to drop the ball probably
Mhm.
without some of those like connections and stuff. So
Mhm.
yeah, I highly recommend if someone wants to accomplish this for themselves and just grow as a person and create like a bigger community by meeting other people who have a similar mindset, it would be, yeah, I would highly recommend it. It was great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I really, again, I created. This is my third interview. I've got a few more coming up. The thing that I really wanted to emphasize from day one was that I didn't want this to be just a quote unquote mechanical course where you just go
Right.
in and watch a few videos and put it together. I knew that there were going to be questions, ongoing processes, challenges. There were going to be, we all need that time. Like I have another coaching group that I do within this program, and that sort of weekly touch base
Yeah.
has really been the thing that's really made what I literally prayerfully have created to be something that sets it apart from other things that, okay, here's all this, here's all the modules, here are all the videos, all that's there too. But that one on that group time, and the groups are small, and so everyone gets questions answered, everyone gets their questions addressed, or the stuck points, or just again, like you said, that push or that yay, keep going, kind of thing.
Right.
That I feel is what I really wanted this to be about. It wasn't just about, because it's interesting, and I know it sounds almost counter to what I'm teaching or talking about. It's not about the book.
Right.
I say that
Yeah.
all the time. It's not about the book. It's who you become as a result of creating it. So, with that said, what would you say your experience has been before you did
Right.
this, and now that you've done it now, since we talked about identity at the top of the conversation?
Right. Yeah. I think even allowing that like piece of like author creator like into my personal space, like allowing it to actually like cement there, because you'll get pushback, right, like from the online community of everyone's a creator nowadays, everyone can, or you can just type into chat gpt like write this book for me, which I'm personally, I was like, there's no way any AI is writing. AI has never written any of my blog posts or it's just helped me tweak or expand like vocabulary. It is because I just personally, it's not authentic to me. So just even going from, okay, how do you do this? And this is kind of like awkward, right? Whenever you're learning how to walk, when a kid learns how to walk, kind of like, oh, okay, mechanical and practicalness into you learn some of the steps and the practical ways of creating, and then you can start infusing style and authenticity into it because you're getting comfortable with yourself as far as like the mechanics of it. So I've just seen, I guess, myself go from, yeah, what are those A plus B plus C? Okay, now how do I add my own flair? Okay, and I really appreciate this community because they become like your friends. Like as a young mom, I kind of feel a little bit isolated. So I'm like, hey, I have my online friends this today. Yay. So it just feels better. So I do feel more confidence. I can say, yeah, I am a creator. Yeah, I am an author. And I always have been, but it just hasn't been this like maybe put together or in a different way put together, right? So I just feel like, okay, this is the first one of numerous, that confidence of the first one of numerous. And it just shows me, even when maybe no one's necessarily going rah in the background, like on 10 p.m. after my kid's gone to sleep and I'm sitting here in the dark with a dim lit light, trying not to wake him typing away or creating. I'm like, yay, like it's just me and God right now. And my playlist that's moving forward, that's like cheerleading myself forward. And anyway, just to be in a space where I know what that's like and how to have some long suffering through the process, from start to finish, but enjoying it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I think it's just like you said, a lot of growth, and I appreciate it. It's been great.
What I will say to add on to echo onto what you said, when I did my very, very, very first book back in 93 or 4, I can't remember which it was.
Okay.
It was, there was pre-Amazon. Who knew about an AI? I mean, I barely had a computer. I think my computer back then was a brother word processor. I didn't even have I
Okay.
mean, this was when Mac was like the Q. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, just if you haven't figured out, I'm older, I'm more mature. Okay, so can't leave right here tell you. So I've been around for a minute, as the kids say, and I had to rent my computer to create my first book. And when I say I did every aspect from typesetting to editing, everything, everything. Only thing I
Right.
didn't do was the cover design. And there was just, I'll write a book about that book. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that the journey to put that book together was so, it was so traumatic that I said, I'm never, ever
Oh no.
doing this again. And I
Yeah.
didn't from that book until like 2009. So it was like that span between 93, 94, 2009, because every time I thought about even thinking about creating a book, I would just cringe.
Yeah.
And then fast forward to today, where it's still work. I mean, you can use AI to slap something together, but
Right.
I want to kind of couch what you said around this. As I look at AI is not as creating the book for me, but being my assistant
Yeah.
and helping me to make the book better, fleshing out the idea, tightening up the languaging a little bit, like I'm feeding it.
Right.
It's like some call it the hungry monster. It's like you have to feed it what you want it to give you back. So I like
Exactly.
to look at it as an assistant, not, oh, this is what my book is about. This is the subject. Well, go write it or put it together. Like
Right.
AI has not done what you've done
Exactly.
yet. But but I feel that if you work with it as an assistant, it can, and that's how it should be viewed. And it's not taking anything away
Right.
from you as a creator, us as creators, because again, you had to choose that curated playlist. You
Right.
had to make that video that goes with that safety plan. You had to pull. I mean, the resource thing maybe it could have pulled that, but not the resources maybe you would have picked. So
Right.
if you anyone listening who may have some trepidation around AI, as I just created GPT, which I'll put the link to that in the show notes, and I'm doing a workshop around how I use GPT, my GPT, to create
Right.
a new book project I'm working on. Anyway, I say if you of that sort of camp where it's like, oh, AI, yeah, I mean, people really get really into that. Don't think, just expand your thinking about it, and use it as an assistant to help you. And it can really speed up the process in a way that I would have loved 30
Right.
years ago.
Right. No, I agree. And like I did start the planning old school on paper with a web, like we learned in elementary school. Renew and reclaim, draw a circle, web, like the little, that's
Yeah,
how I started. And then
yeah,
yeah, bringing in AI with like, I don't want to use the word great again. Please, can you, what's a synonym for great?
there you go.
It was stuff like that, you know? So yeah, it was helpful in those ways for sure.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Allie. This has been brilliant. I'm so glad to know you, to have this opportunity. It's been a blessing to me to be able to support you in taking just the seed of an idea and creating a vision
Right.
around it and then actually seeing it in your hand. And I cannot wait. Now, you have to promise me one thing. You have to do an
Yeah.
unboxing video when you get that proof from Amazon. I
Yeah,
don't
I will.
care if it, because when you get the proof from Amazon, it'll have that little thing across the cover of it saying it's a proof, because you can order an author copy of your book. You don't have to buy it full price. So
Right.
when you get it, I'm just giving you a heads up now. Don't worry about that. You're just approving it
Yeah.
to make sure that it looks right. But before you even open the package, turn the camera on, show us that excitement and that fear.
I'm afraid I'm gonna open it and be like, nope.
You
But
don't have to
because
post
I'm
it
very
if it
realistic,
was
my
horrible.
emotions are on my face. But and yeah, I will do it because I wasn't sure where I was gonna do it. But I'm like, if I do it in my Facebook group, it's safe because everyone knows me. I'm like, I do it on my like personal profile, it's like safe-ish, but there's more people on there. But I'm like, well, then you'll see it, and then the group members will see it. So I guess I should probably do
Yeah.
it that way.
Well, you can do it private. I would say the first one, do privately. Just
Oh,
record
okay.
it. Just record it privately. Because like I said, because if it's really janky,
Right.
you don't want that to show on your face, because I'll be like, oh, what's wrong with it? So yeah, so just record it privately, and then if you
Okay.
go, okay, and then just, because that's what I'm gonna do when I'm waiting for mine to come. And then what you can do is, then, so this is a marketing tip, because I know I jump in and out of teaching mode. Then do all your additional tweaks you're going to do to it, and then reorder it again.
Oh,
And
that's
then
fair.
that one,
Yeah.
once everything is all buttoned up and I's dotted and T's crossed, then you do the more formal live
Right.
unboxing. But the first one, no, I wouldn't do that live.
Oh, that's
I would
fair.
just
Okay.
I would record that on my own, because like I said, if it comes out, because we're always going to be looking at, what did they do? What did they mess up?
Yeah. I will do that. That's a good tip.
Yeah, so no, do it that way. And then like I said, then you can, because that's what the whole purpose of the proof is for, is to go through it page by page and see,
Right.
okay, do I need to adjust some things and move things around? Is the color, because I know you're doing also full color.
Yeah.
And so I'm curious myself as what that's going to look like, as far as, the color and all of that. Did everything match? I know it's going to be not 100%, but let's see what happens with that. And
Right.
then of course you can bring that to the coaching call, and then we can talk, and if need be, cry about that.
Yeah. Sounds good.
And we'll go from there. All righty.
Okay.
So thank you again so much, Allie. I'm so excited for you and your future and your vision that you have. Hold on to that, and know that
Yeah.
this here, what you created, is the first step on that journey. And just keep going. Just keep going, because your work is needed. It's appreciated, and I appreciate you for trusting me to allow me to help you usher this into physical reality. So thank you again. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
you for that.
Thank you.
Really do. All right, everyone. So again, I'm going to have the links to everything inside of the show notes. If you're listening to the audio iteration of this, the links are there. Of course, please do go over to the YouTube channel and watch the video there. That way you can see some of the inside of Allie's book, and stay tuned, because I'm sure you're going to be hearing more from her again in the future. So thank you so, so much.